I love it when films get gender dynamics right. Yet, you'll notice that the audience, specifically the male audience, get it back to front. Now, this young man, what's his name? Rockland Graves. He talks about this horror film, which shows the actual dynamics, and yet he gets it back to front. Now, let's see. Here it is here. What it is, there's the proud couple. The man has achieved success in writing, so he attracts a mate. His next book fails. So she's basically saying, you've got to keep it being successful or I'm out of here. Now, listen.
That since then. There's a great scene between him and Tracy where they talk about his pursuit of something that might have just been this one-time thing and how his ambitions are driving a wedge between him and his family.
No. See, he gets it wrong. It's not his ambitions, it's her demands that he succeed. His ambitions are all about not wanting to be booted out of the family unit.
What if that was your 15 minutes?
We do see throughout the movie that Ellison can be quite selfish with how he puts his family in these bad situations and
No, not him, Rockland. His wife. His wife is making these demands.
puts his writing before everything else. And from what Tracy says here, it seems like after his last book failed and actually steered an investigation in the wrong direction, he must have hit such a low point that she gives him an ultimatum for when this book is done.
See, he failed. So what's the ultimatum?
This goes sour, like last time. I'll take Trevor and Ashley and go back home to my sisters.
She's threatening him, right? She's threatening this guy. He's doing this because he knows it's on the line, right? And what does this guy do, young fellow Rockland? He gets it back to front. He blames the man. The woman puts these ultimatums on the man to succeed, and then the man gets blamed. So it's gaslighting, right? She's the one who's forced this, not him, right?
This is one of my favorite scenes of the whole movie. It's very revealing of both of their characters, and well, you can tell that Ellis
Well, it's revealing of typical characters of relationships, right?
is driven to make this work. There's also a very sad undertone to the scene that gives some very real stakes to Ellison's book. Him still being dressed and going to work on research for the novel as his wife gets into bed alone gives a strong idea of where they're at in their relationship.
Yeah, where they're at. Where they're at is what the relationships are. Look at the smug look on her face, the big happy look. She gets to sleep at night. He has to work, right? And he's a selfish guy. He's a bum, and she's the rock of this relationship. This is what relationships are between men and women. The man works, the woman leeches. And notice this young fellow Rockland gets it ass backwards.
Throughout the movie, Ellison becomes more and more isolated from them once he realizes how deep this research will take him.
No, he was isolated by his wife. She said, get to work or I'm ditching you. And by the way, you know what Rockland here misses out? Like you can say, hey, this is just a work of fiction, but it's how the audience behaves. Doesn't he find it strange that the kids will automatically go with the wife? No one does. He doesn't, the audience doesn't. It's standard practice. Why? Because the children are the wife's children. The woman owns the children. They were never his. And that's standard for real life. If you have a child with a woman, they belong to her, they're used as hostages against you, right? You might like your relationship with your children, but they're her children. I should say you like your relationship with the children because they're not yours, right? And he doesn't say, wow, this is weird. How come they automatically go to her? Did he run out of money? She still may have more in the bank than what she's making. So it shouldn't be understood that the children will automatically go with her, right? But what's the argument? He has no time for them because she made sure he didn't have any time for them.
This all works because the movie makes you want to see things fall into place with this family. The scenes they all share together over dinner show
Not this family for him. He's the protagonist. She leaves this guy. Her and the family will be fine. She'll make this guy pay child support. It's just him who's on the line.
that this is a good family that really does care for one another. So you wind up
No, they don't. Her so-called love is conditional. Conditional whether he succeeds or not. She's not in love with him. So you are wrong, Rockland.
invested in Ellison's book working out so that things don't get split up between them all. There's also this truth that Ellison seems to be trying to hide, where it's true that part of the reason he wants to be successful is so he can provide for his family and give them the best possible life. We see the house they were living in before, and it's clear that the lifestyle he tried to give them wasn't sustainable, and any father would want to give.
Really? So her working job isn't good enough, right? She demanded a higher lifestyle. And he isn't able to sustain it, she will leave him. She said so.
Give their family the best they can. But in a lot of ways, Ellison does seem to be doing this for himself because he so badly wants to relive his glory days.
What's wrong with that, dude? What's wrong with a man doing things for himself? Why can't he have it both? Why can't he do things for himself that make himself feel good and also for his family? See, it's a dichotomy, right? The comedy is there because they're saying you as a man do not deserve contentment. The only way you're going to get validated is if you sacrifice everything about yourself for these other people. And it's not really for your children. It's for the woman every time. That's a fact.
We see him watching an old tape recording of a talk.
And here's the other thing, too. His ambition is not to be kicked out of the family unit. Right? Because again, she told him, you either succeed or you're gone.
Show he went on, where the answer he gave to a question of whether he writes for the money or the justice his books have provided clearly bothers him now, given the motivations behind his current project.
No, without question.
Yeah. Guys sell their souls for women. They sell off their integrity for women. And they sell out everything that's their principles for women. Right? So if you want to be a person of principles and integrity, a man of integrity, you got to avoid relationships. Because in the end, this is what happens.
I'd rather cut my hands off than write a book for fame or money.
He could go back to writing fiction like Tracy suggests, and he could probably find a way to support his family just as well off that, but he wants to
bribe the wife. Rockland, that's what he's actually doing, bribing the wife.
Continue writing true crime and seems perfectly willing to put his family in pretty ugly situations and cut himself off from them. He's a
no. She is willing to put the family in this ugly situation. And she is willing to isolate him. Remember, you showed it back here where she was smiling while sleeping and he had to get ready and go to work and not be around her. Your job, dude, is to get away from me and get working. See, where are you, Laughlin, here? Where are you? I'm going to get you up here. The typical interpretation men have of gender dynamics is backwards. The woman is the one who makes all the rules and makes the man jump through hoops. And then what do? You blame the man. This is so typical. This is a very positive thing about the movie. He develops a male friendship with this guy who's a nobody. They call him Deputy so-and-so. He's a no-name guy. Right? But their work to a common goal forges a friendship, right? Men don't want to do anything to do with men, with other men, but sometimes situation forces them together and they bond over.
Develop a nice friendship that ends up a lot more reciprocatory than it starts. Circling back to the connections between the murder.
Sorry, I'll back that up a bit. Hear that? More reciprocal than it starts. He gets a reciprocal relationship with another man. His wife's relationship is not reciprocal.
Out the connections between these killings a lot better than he could have on his own. He's a really great addition to the story and gives Ellison someone to bounce off of, which is fortunate because of how he's really isolated himself from his family, and this gives us a better idea of his character. You can tell that he's at first intentionally leveraging Deputy So-and-so's admiration of him to gain access to police resources, but he also does grow to find a lot of comfort in So-and-so's presence, and they develop a nice friendship that ends up a lot more reciprocatory than it starts. Circling back to the connections between the murder.
Wow. He starts off using this guy, but ends up seeing him as a human being. That's very positive. That's the one good thing I can see out of this film. Well, let's see. I'll see if there's anything else we need to go through. Okay. This is important. Okay. First of all, he's going to do more blaming of the man for what the woman wants. And then he's talking about legacy.
It happened in the backyard.
This scene is another highlight of the movie where you can feel Tracy's just at the end of the line when it comes to her patience with Ellison as he stumbles around trying to justify all the things that are happening as a result of his actions.
No, of her actions. She put the ultimatum on him. She put the pressure and stress on him. He had to do whatever it took to stay in that family unit. So again, Rockland, you've got it backwards. You're blaming the wrong participant here.
It's brilliantly acted from both of them and feels like a real argument, and it never fails to make me really sad.
These books are my legacy.
And your legacy? That's Ashley and Trevor.
Yeah, your legacy is your children. Yet she threatened to walk away with them. So she's saying, hey, you've got it wrong. I've got your legacy. I've got my hostages to keep you doing this. So you're forced to do this at my bidding, and then I'm going to blame you if things go wrong. Things are going wrong, so now you're to blame. See how that works? And by the way, neither one of these people care about this legacy. She's using these children as hostages to make this guy jump through hoops, so she doesn't give a shit about him. And this guy's concerned is staying with her. Even though he's connected to his children and loves his children, the main focus is stay with her, because if he loved his children, he'd be fighting her in court and saying, you can go on your way and I will take care of the kids and you can pay child support. There. So that's another piece of bullshit I want to slam down when guys try to hide behind their children, men and women, like they care about them. They don't. This is completely selfish. Now, that's all I have to say about this. And thank you. Rockland, where are you? Where are you? See if I can't get you up here. Yeah. Thank you for providing me with this video, Rockland. Let's just make sure. Yep, Rockland Graves. Because it shows gender dynamics for what it is. And I got to show people that the average guy double thinks. He doesn't want to get the gender dynamics right. You interpret it, it's complete opposite. And I'm here to correct you. Thank you. We'll end it here.